I can't even type this without my hands shaking. It's been 8 months since my ex-husband destroyed my entire life, and I'm still living in my sister's spare room, applying for minimum wage jobs because nobody in my industry will touch me. Everyone thinks they know the story because he made sure to tell everyone his version, but nobody knows what it was really like being married to him for 15 years. I'm 42 years old, and my life is over, all because I fell in love with someone who actually saw me as more than just a mother and maid. Let me start from the beginning. I met David when we were in our 20s. He was charming, ambitious, already making good money in tech. I was fresh out of my MBA, ready to conquer the corporate world. We fell in love fast, got married, had 2 beautiful daughters. From the outside, we looked perfect. But here's what nobody saw. I gave up everything for his career. When his company offered him a promotion that required long hours, I scaled back my ambitions. When our first daughter was born, guess who took the extended maternity leave that derailed her career trajectory? When his job required us to move across the country, away from the firm where I was about to make partner, guess who sacrificed? "It's temporary," he'd always say. "Once I get to senior management, you can focus on your career again." 15 years later, I was still waiting. Don't get me wrong, I loved my daughters fiercely. But while David got to be the fun dad who swooped in for weekend adventures and bedtime stories, I was the one managing their schedules, dealing with teachers, handling sick days, driving to activities. He'd cook dinner a few times a week, and suddenly he's the main caregiver. Please, he has no idea what it takes to actually run a household while maintaining a demanding career. My job in pharmaceutical sales was brutal. 60-hour weeks, constant travel, pressure to hit impossible quotas. But it was mine. It was the one place where I was more than just David's wife or the girl's mom. I was good at it too, consistently in the top 5% of salespeople nationally. That's how I met Nathan. He was a surgeon at one of the hospitals on my route. Brilliant, funny, and actually interested in my thoughts beyond what was for dinner or whether I'd signed the permission slip for the field trip. Our conversation started professionally, but soon we were having coffee between his surgeries, talking about everything from medical innovations to philosophy. "You're wasted in sales," he told me once. "With your intelligence and drive, you should be running the company." When was the last time David had said anything like that? He was too busy basking in being the involved dad, while I handled everything else. Nathan was married too, unhappily. His wife had checked out years ago, more interested in spending his money than spending time with him. We bonded over feeling invisible in our own marriages. What started as friendship slowly became something more. I fought it for months, but when someone sees you, really sees you, after years of being taken for granted, it's intoxicating. The first time we kissed, I felt alive in a way I hadn't in years. I was a woman again, not just a function in David's perfectly organized life. Nathan made me feel desired, valuable, seen. We started meeting when we could. Stolen hours between appointments, occasional overnight conferences that were really nights in hotels where we could pretend we were different people with different lives. I know it was wrong, but I was drowning in my perfect suburban life, and Nathan was my lifeline. David started getting suspicious after a few months. I could see him watching me, noting when I was on my phone, asking more questions about my schedule. I should have been more careful, but part of me wanted him to notice. Maybe if he realized he could lose me, he'd remember I was more than just the woman who made his life convenient. Instead, he decided to violate me in the worst possible way. When he suggested taking the girls on a weekend trip to see some historical site, I thought it was sweet. Finally, some initiative in parenting that didn't involve me doing all the planning. I was exhausted from a particularly brutal week of sales calls and just wanted to sleep. Nathan had the weekend off too, and yes, I invited him over. To my own home, my safe space, the place where I should have been able to expect privacy. I found out later that my loving husband had turned our bedroom into a surveillance studio. Hidden cameras, microphones, the works. He filmed everything. Our most intimate moments, our private conversations, our vulnerability. The man who claimed to love me had been recording me like I was some kind of criminal. But that's not even the worst part. When he confronted me with the footage, I was horrified. Not just that he'd caught me, but that he'd violated our home, our privacy, our daughter's safe space with his spy equipment. What kind of person does that? But he didn't care about any of that. He had his evidence, and he used it like a weapon. Sign this separation agreement giving me the house and custody, or I'll show the girls everything. I couldn't breathe. The thought of my babies seeing that, I signed. What choice did I have? I was in shock, couldn't think straight. He'd planned this ambush perfectly, knowing exactly how to manipulate me when I was most vulnerable. I tried to explain to the girls later, during my pathetic supervised visits, that relationships are complicated, that sometimes adults grow apart. But David had already poisoned them against me. My oldest, who I'd spent 13 years nurturing, looked at me with such disgust. "Dad showed us your text messages," she said. "You're disgusting." Text messages. Not the videos, thank God, but carefully selected messages that made me look like a monster while hiding his years of emotional neglect. When my lawyer said we should fight for shared custody, standard in most divorces, I thought maybe I could salvage something. I'm their mother. I carried them, birthed them, raised them while David played Father of the Year for a few hours each week. Surely that counted for something. That's when David went nuclear. He took a trip with the girls to South Carolina. Told them it was educational to see Fort Sumter. But I know the real reason. South Carolina was one of the last states where revenge porn wasn't illegal. My loving ex-husband, the good father, uploaded videos of me in my most vulnerable moments to pornography websites. He sent links to my employer, my clients, my colleagues, everyone in my professional network. I found out when my boss called me into his office. His face was red. He could barely look at me. "We've had some complaints from clients," he said. HR was already there with a box of my things. 8 years with the company, consistently exceeding targets, and I was walked out like a criminal because my ex-husband decided to destroy me. The videos went viral in my industry. Pharmaceutical sales is a small world, everyone knew. Former colleagues who I'd considered friends shared the links in WhatsApp groups with vomiting emojis. Clients I'd worked with for years called my company to say they'd never work with any firm that employed me. My LinkedIn flooded with messages calling me names I can't repeat. Nathan's wife found out too. She sent me a message saying I deserved everything I got. Nathan himself disappeared, blocked me everywhere, acted like I never existed. So much for true love. Turns out he wasn't willing to have his life destroyed for me the way mine was destroyed. My daughters won't speak to me. My parents are ashamed. My career is over. Who's going to hire someone whose sex tape has been seen by everyone in the industry? I've applied to hundreds of jobs, even retail, but a simple Google search of my name brings up those videos. David made sure to include my full name in the titles. The last time I saw him was at the final divorce hearing. He looked so smug, so righteous. The judge, an older man who clearly sympathized with the betrayed husband, gave David everything. The house I'd helped pay for, the children I'd sacrificed my body and career for, even my personal belongings, apparently abandoned property since I'd left so quickly under duress. "You did this to yourself," David said as we left court. "Maybe next time you'll think before you spread your legs for another man." The cruelty of it. This man who claimed to love me for 15 years, who made vows to cherish and protect me, who was the father of my children. He destroyed me completely and felt justified doing it. I messaged him on Facebook last month, begging him to take down the videos. I told him I was applying for jobs at grocery stores, and even they wouldn't hire me. His response? A screenshot of my message posted to his timeline with the caption, "The consequences of her actions are not my problem." His friends, our former mutual friends, commented things like, "She got what she deserved," and "play stupid games, win stupid prizes." One woman wrote, This is what happens when you don't appreciate a good man. A good man? A good man who secretly films his wife? Who posts intimate videos online? Who turns children against their mother? Who destroys someone's entire life over an affair? Yes, I had an affair. I fell in love with someone else because I was dying inside my marriage. But David, he committed a crime. He violated my privacy, distributed intimate images without consent, engaged in systematic harassment. But somehow, I'm the villain in this story. I've lost everything. My career, my children, my home, my reputation, my future. I'm 42 years old, living on my sister's charity, unable to get a job because my ex-husband made sure everyone in the world has seen me naked. My daughters think I'm a whore. My industry thinks I'm radioactive. All because I had the audacity to find happiness with someone else when my husband treated me like hired help. The other day, I saw on Instagram that David is dating someone new, a young teacher at our daughter's school. She commented on his post about being a dedicated single dad, with heart emojis. I wonder if she knows she's dating a man who secretly films women and posts it online when they displease him. I wonder if she knows that one day it could be her. But sure, David's the hero here, the poor betrayed husband who was just protecting his children. Never mind that he traumatized those children by showing them their mother's private messages. Never mind that he committed multiple felonies in his quest for revenge. Never mind that he destroyed the mother of his children so thoroughly that they'll grow up without me. I made one mistake, falling in love with the wrong person. David made calculated choices to destroy another human being, but I'm the one paying for it for the rest of my life.